It doesn't have to be a super straight line. Because nothing is super straight like that. So I try to do my best to just stay within the number line, within the lines of the number, but I don't worry about if I go over, because again, I can always fix it later. The one thing about this paint is that it is opaque. So when you go over, if something's dry and you go over it with a new color, it's going to be that new color. That other color underneath is not going to bleed through. Even on whites, as long as the white is not too thin. So as you can see here, I've come to a place where this brush is a little too thick for that area. So I'm going to change brushes. And when I change brushes, I'll be able to get into that little small nook and cranny a lot better than I can with this brush. And I'll show you that in a moment. So because I'm going to continue with 15, I'm not going to put this brush in water yet because I'm just going to use it again. If it was going to be a long time when I'd use it again, I'd have to put it in water because this paint dries pretty quickly. But I just want to show you, here's one of the smaller brushes, how having a smaller brush, and then when you dip it, you kind of get that excess off. And then having a smaller brush gets into those smaller spaces. It makes a smaller line. Now, understand, when I first started doing this, I didn't know this. A lot of this just came from trial and error, trying it out. And honestly, not trying to be a perfectionist with it. Because if you're trying to be a perfectionist with it, isn't that stressful? And remember, this is my de-stressor. So I'm not trying to do anything that's extra stressful for me. So I want to enjoy it and have fun. And typically my music would be on. And I'm just, you know, in a zone with my painting. So until the next video, I realize I keep doing videos. So anytime I say I'll show you something later, later might be 2 minutes from now. All right, bye. See, I told you. Right now, I just want to show you how I clean things. So let's say I'm not going to use this one for a while. So I get a baby wipe or a Kleenex, one of the two. And what I tend to do is just wipe off the paint as much as I can. And then I'll just put it in the water and then let it sit. Now, if it's a lot of paint like this one, then it takes me a little more to wipe off the paint. That's when I use this too, because what will happen is I'm wiping it on here and I think I'm getting it out, but I'm really not. So I come to the dry one and I can see how much paint is still in there. This then takes that paint off. And then I gotta go to the dry one again, see what's left. And then look, and that's, as you can see, it's some green still in there from the other day. But I'm going to take this. I try not to keep these in the water because I've realized that they're not made for water. There are a couple of them, when I put it in the water, it split the wood. So I try not to keep them in the water. Of course, I don't see one right now, but yeah, it split the wood and I didn't like that. I didn't want that. So I'll put it in there, but I won't leave it for too long. So as you can see, it's still got paint in it. I don't want that paint to get on the brushes, so I'm going to put it in this water, which is the water that I put the ones with paint on. All right. So as I said, today's my first time using the easel, so painting upright. So I'm going to take a little, it's going to take a little getting used to. I'm going to show you one of the wider brushes. Now, one glass that I never put a brush in other than this one is this one to get the water, because I don't want any color to corrupt the color that I'm supposed to use. So when I'm getting the water, I always make sure it's clean water, and that one jar has that one brush in it in order to add water for me. So now I'm just stirring it. Right now it's a little too watery. If it's too watery, when it goes on, it actually just soaks in. It soaks in and then disappears. You see how it soaks in? You see how you can still see the number? So that's too watery for me. So I need to stir it up a little more. I start at the top. I don't stir from the bottom. I stir from the top because I want the paint on the bottom to stay in its state until I need to use it. But as I stir, if it's watery, I have to go down a little further to make it thicker. So as you can see, this one has thickened up quite a bit, and I always scrape around the side too. Another place I can get paint if I don't want to go down further is from the lid, and I'll just add that to it. If it's too watery, I'll add that to it, and then it'll thicken it up as well. As you can see, that's what it did. So now when I put it on, I've also changed to a bigger brush. So now when I put it on, it's thicker and the coverage is better. And I'm using the bigger brush because this is a larger area, and I can control this brush on these long lines like that. So, and I always try to dab off as much as I can and then go back in and just put paint on the end of it. So, until the next one.